Have you ever read a book that started at the end and moved to another time altogether? The first chapter was set in the future, maybe even at the otherwise closing of the story, and the second chapter was set in the past. Authors use these devices, called flashbacks and flash forwards, to make a story more interesting. In the same way, some stories are told from the perspectives of main characters. There's a great episode of Frasier from long ago where each character relates events from their own perspectives, and it is hilarious. But these shifts in time and perspective don't work so well for work or school, unless, of course, you're writing a paper for a drama class. In serious academic settings, your goal is to keep your reader efficiently and clearly informed, so time and perspective should be the same throughout the text. Using a consistent writing style will help ensure that your main idea is as clear as possible. This lesson will help you avoid two types of inconsistencies in your writing. First, tense, and secondly, person. Read this sentence and decide if the action takes place in the past, present, or future. I looked out the window and realized that the cars were all at a complete stop. You could probably tell that the action took place in the past, but how'd you know? Well, of course, you knew based only upon the verbs. Each of the base forms, look, realize, and are in the past tense form. Looked, realized, and were. As is illustrated in this table, verbs are used different tenses to tell the audience when an action took place, past, present, or future. Switching tenses in the middle of the same thought is awkward. Consider this example. The psychology experiment began by rewarding the mouse with a treat each time it successfully pressed the button. Okay. After a short time, the mouse moved directly from the treat to the button constantly. Good. It wanted the reward. It chews the treat and looks at the button. Did you catch the shift in tense? The first two sentences occur in the past, then suddenly we're placed in the present. To correct a mistake like this, the writer should change the verb tenses in the last sentence so that they match the rest of the passages. It chewed the treat and looked at the button. Now they all match. Sometimes writing in the present tense is the best way to communicate your message. In a narrative or a story, you may use present tense because you want the readers to feel as though the events are unraveling right before their eyes. Present tense may also be used in academic writing for analyzing a piece of literature or making an argument. For example, an essay about the themes in McGill's No Father, No Son might include a sentence like this. Through descriptions that invoke pity, the author explores the effect of the combination of selfishness and fear. This example uses present tense. Descriptions invoke and author explores because the writer is currently sharing their opinions about the book. Present tense. The past tense is used to report on an event or reflect on a past experience. Now, most fictional books are written in the past. Here's an example of the past tense from an article about voter turnout in a local election. 73% of registered voters participated in last night's election. Voter turnout was at an all time high. The voters are currently not voting. This event took place in the past. Future tense is used to describe plans or for instructions. Here's an example. In our staff meeting, we will discuss the importance of direct communication when it comes to discipline. Will discuss. Future tense. Regardless of the tense you use, be as consistent as possible. That's the key. You don't want to confuse your readers by switching back and forth between two different points in time. Now, occasionally, shifts in tense are unavoidable. You might need to describe events that happened at two different points in time. And here's an example. We brought the two tables to the new residence last week, and we are working on getting everything else moved now. The first independent clause contains a simple past tense verb, and the second contains a present progressive tense verb, thus, a necessary shift in tense. Similarly, you might need to show that a current or future action is the direct result of a past action. For example, take a look at this one. Yael locked herself out of the out of the apartment, so Carl is going to let her in. The first clause is in the past, and the second in the present progressive. And finally, tenses can also shift within a paragraph. Consider this example. I just realized that my homemade cupcakes taste funny because they're missing some ingredients. Next time, I'll pay closer attention to the recipe. In this one, the first sentence is in the past tense, and the tense of the second is future. Okay, we discussed consistency and exceptions to that in tense. Now let's look at consistency in person. In English grammar, person is point of view, of which there are three. First person, in which the narrator or writer is a member of the story or event, I, me, my, mine. Second person, in which the reader is a member of the story or event, you, your, yours. And third person, in which the narrator or writer is outside of the story or event. And you see all those, he, him, his, she, her, hers, etc. For practice, pause the video, read the following passage, and identify the first person pronouns by writing them down in the order that you see them. Okay, here are the first person pronouns in order: my, me, we, me, I, my, and the last one, we. All first person pronouns. So, why use specific person or point of view when writing? Well, different perspectives are appropriate for different types of writing. When writing or revising, double check any assignment guidelines to make sure that you're using the correct one. Here are some common examples of used points of view in different genres. In first person, generally we use for informal writing and personal reflections. Second person is often used for instructions and advice. And third person for formal academic writing and professional writing. If your writing includes frequent shifts from one point of view to another, it can be difficult for your audience to follow. Consider the following examples. After the graduates received their degrees, 80% of us went on to obtain jobs in the field of engineering. The words graduate and their are third person, but the pronoun us is first person. To fix this shift in person, the word us should be changed to them. After the graduates received their degrees, 80% of them went on to obtain jobs in the field of engineering. Much better. Here's another example. If an employee wants a promotion, you will have to earn it. Now, in this sentence, the subject employee is third person. The use of the second person pronoun you makes the point of view inconsistent. Sounds odd. Unless another employee's promotion depends on the performance of the person being addressed, the pronoun you should be changed to what? Well, it could be they or he or she. Keep it consistent. I guess that's a reminder to keep it consistent. Point of view should also be consistent in paragraphs. Take a look at the following example. See if you can catch the errors. I will never forget my first trip to Disney World when I was 10 years old. I was so excited to try out all the rides. You got a pass to access different rides in different parks. I also wanted to meet all the characters and get pictures with them. In this, the writer shifts the perspective from first person, I, to second person, you. Now, to correct the error, revise the third sentence so that it uses a first person pronoun, I. I got a pass. In this short lesson, we looked at ways to avoid two types of inconsistencies in writing: tense and person. Thanks for listening.